Good day, everyone. My name is Adetola Akon BMO, and I'm full of smiles. You know why? Because we're going to be taking our first lesson, and the topic is information explode. Oh my goodness! Information explosion. Did you see that? Did you hear that? Aha! I bet you want to know more. So I want you to come with me. Give me your attention so we can enjoy this lesson together. Yeah, like I said, we are going to have an interesting lesson today, and our topic is still information explosion. My name is Adetola Akonbiemu. Today, the 21st of September 2020. Now, by the end of this lesson, there are certain things that you should have learned. You should have understood what information explosion is. You should know what information overload is, and also be able to discuss the effect of information overload. Now, look at this guy on our right side. Hey, hello. Hello, Femi. Oh, sorry. Your name is Emeka. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hello, hi, Sunny. Oh, he's not even answering us. That's because he's too glued to his phone. We're wondering what information is he looking for. Can anybody get? Or maybe he's looking for some information on premiership scores. Well, whichever way, he still has so much on his head, and it seems like his head cannot even contain it. This is what we are talking about. There is an increase in the amount of information stored up in his head. Before we go on, I want us to define what information is. Information is processed data, and data are raw facts and figures. I'll give you an instance. If I come to the class and I say the figure is 36, I'm sure you all look at one another because it doesn't make any sense. But if I say there are 36 states in Nigeria, that makes more sense. Then you're able to find such an information useful. That is what information is. Information is data that has been processed into a form that is useful. Now, you know that there are 36 states. So when you're asked, you know that yes, it's a useful information to know the amount of states in your country. Oh, where can we get our information sources? You can get your information from the internet, you can get it from TV stations, you can get it from the newspapers, you can get your information from books and from journals, online, offline, on print, and even in digital. So that brings us to what information explosion is. There is no one that does not need information in his life. You need information on what to wear. You need information on what to eat. You need information on what you're eating and why what you're eating is good for you. If some people have headaches, probably recurring headaches, they rush to Google even before they get to the hospital. So there is always a need for information at every point in our lives. That brings us to what information explosion is. We've told us earlier that it is the creation, the spread, and the increase in the amount of information, either in published or unpublished manner. The information that has been generated will not only be in one format, but it will be spread. For example, you have an information probably in some PDF documents, and somebody asks you, say, "Oh, I'll send it to your email." You send it to the person's email, the information has left your place and has gone to another person's place. Both of you now have the same information. You will probably send to another person that will send to another person. This is what gives birth to the rise in the amount of information. And when there is too much information, this is what happened. Look at this guy here. Can you see him? Can you see this guy here? Can you see him? There's an explosion in his head. Why? Because his brain can't contain the amount of information that he is getting. And that is what happened with information explosion. Many of the amount of information, they are even sometimes irrelevant. Why? Because too much. Now, did you know that 4.5 million people watch YouTube videos every minute of the day? 188 million emails are sent every minute. 4,497,420,000 users conduct Google search. Isn't that enormous? Isn't that enormous amount of information being passed across the web every minute? Now, with the increase in the amount of information being spread across the global world, it will lead to shorter attention span. Why? Because the amount of information is huge. So it makes it difficult, makes it tough for people to concentrate. It can also bring about the difficulty in making decisions. It can also bring about a brain freeze. Brain freeze occurs when there are too much unfiltered information available to users. This can also lead to the inability to select the right information, which will lead to mistakes. And finally, what happens with information explosion is that it increases the amount of information being archived. How is that how possible can that be? That is because people want to keep abreast of available information. So because of that, they think more of the past than the present. In a bid to keeping up and catching up, they feel lost. So they rather go back and hold on to the one that they know, to the one they used to know. Now that brings us to information overload. We've already explained what information is, but I want us to talk about what overload is. If you've ever lived in Lagos in the 90s, then you understand what overload is. There's a popular bus that used to transport passengers. After this bus has loaded people, people will still stand in the walkway. Apart from standing in the walkway, they will also stand at the entrance that they will probably almost fall off. Sometimes when the Molue is driving around the corner, it will look as if the people in the bus want to fall off. And then you will hear overload, oh, overload. Oh. Now let's bring it back to information. Information overload. Imagine that Molue, the people there are now the information and it's carrying loads and loads of people. Do you think it will get to its destination probably in a peaceful manner? Even if it gets to its destination, it will probably be difficult because what overload does is that it slows down. It slows down and suppresses. So let's go to information overload. Now, when the amount of information is so large, it overwhelms the person. It overwhelms the person, pardon me, and makes the pace at which the person wants to flow with the information difficult, just like the Molue I told you about, because the passengers are too much. He's trying to keep up, probably to go for the next round and pick another passenger, but he can't do that because he's carried too much people. There's going to be hindrance to access of him making more money. In the real sense, look at this guy. This is a mouse. He's trying to swallow some things. But look at him. He's too big. He probably has a small esophagus and a small mouth. That is what information overload does. You find the information that's big and large and you think you can swallow it all. But you can't swallow it all. Why? Because it will choke such a person. And when it chokes such a person, the person won't be able to have access to it. So it's best to pick information that is relevant, that is useful, and that is timely. Look at this guy, cute puppy. He's saying, no, no, I can't take this anymore. This information overload just gotta stop so that I can focus and make the right decision. It's like these things that are causing it. It's saying stop. Duplication of information across the internet needs to stop. for information overload to go. Everybody is opening websites. Some people plagiarize, copy information from one website to another. And so it's saying, you got to stop right now. Why? Because I want to concentrate. I want to be able to pick the information that suits me. But as long as there is an increase in production rates of new information, there's still going to be information overload. As long as there is an increase in the channel of information. Now, there are so many channels of information today. In those days, it used to be by post. You just post the mail through the post office, you write the letter, and the post office takes it, and then you have to wait probably weeks before you get it. But now it is instantly. We have the likes of the WhatsApp instant messaging app, Facebook Messenger instant messaging app, the Instagram you can DM, and so there's an increase in the channel of information. It's difficult for information overload to stop. Look at this guy in this picture here. He's running. I bet he can't keep with the pace. Can you see? He just has to run. It's too much for him. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. There will always be historical information. Hardly would you find anything that does not have a source. Even we as a person, we are from a source. We have a source. So are people, so are issues of life, so are historical information. So all these lead to the increase of information overload. The simplicity of sharing information online is what I'm going to talk about lastly concerning the causes of information overload. Now, with the use of internet and social media, sharing information has made life easier. In short, it is easier for people with fewer restrictions. Before the advent of ICT, it's only professionals that share information with probably a specific audience. But now the internet has made it easier for every non-professional to share information, whether authentic or not authentic, whether meaningful or not meaningful, as long as a person has an access to a mobile phone and an internet access. They just start to share information. You're passing along, you see an event happening, probably they are molesting someone or harassing someone. Somebody picks up his phone, covers the event with his camera on the phone, and then before you know it, it's on social media. With minutes, it's gone viral. That is how information overload has been occurring. Now, what have we learned today? We have defined information as processed data. We also let you know that information explosion, it increases. It will continue to increase as long as there are channels of information increasing every day. And we also define information overload and what information overload. There is an English proverb that says that too much of everything is bad. You saw that cat in that video, in that picture, pardon me, was trying to swallow that chunk of snack. It's bad for him. But this is me on the right hand with my advocacy here. Too much of advocacy for now is not bad. And for me, till next lesson, it is bye for now. You can reach me on my email for